Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and a new card making video. Today I will be playing with the March 2022 Large Die of the Month from Spellbinders and showing you 3 different ways to use this awesome new die set. It's the Kaleidoscope Floral Slimline Die set. It is a set of 6 and let's see what these die cuts look like. The largest die is about 8.5 by 3.5 inches and it creates this intricate background panel that can be layered up. It's really cool. And we're going to layer it with these dies right here. There are 3 pieces to create one flower and it gives it that kaleidoscope look, that layered kind of 3D. It's really cool, and those can layer up on that background die cut. There's also these 5-petal flowers that fit over the top of the background as well in a larger and smaller size. There's also die cut leaves that are an additional accent. They don't go with the leaves that the background already cuts out. I won't be using those in today's card. And then there's centers for those rounded flowers. So lots of fun to be had. Let's jump right in with card number 1 and create a background. I am using Villainous Potion to make the outer edge of my cardstock really dark purple. I am using a traditional style blending tool for that, and then on the inside I'm adding some Wilted Violet, so it's going to get lighter on the inside. Now I really like using the traditional style blending tool when I use Distress Oxide inks because it really puts down a heavy layer of the color, and then I save my blending brushes for other inks. Alright, so now that's all blended, I'm going to splatter this with some water from my Distress sprayer. I'm going to let that set for just a second so it gets all nice and oxidized, and then pick up the excess water with my cloth, and that's what it looks like. Now we're putting a ton of splatter. I am bringing in Distress Mica spray in this dark purple color. Spraying that on as well. There's a ton of splatter because we're going to layer on top of this. So I'm going to set that aside to dry and work on my little flowers, putting the centers in the flowers. You can see I die cut some from a darker colored cardstock and a lighter colored cardstock in yellow, and then alternated the centers. And then I have 3 different shades of purple for my kaleidoscope flowers, the lightest color on top going darker and darker as it goes down. So now it's time to add these to that background die cut. Now with these rounded flowers, you're going to maybe have to move it around a little bit to get it lined up. If you want it lined up, you can also kind of offset them too. And then when you glue down your kaleidoscope flowers, you will have a little bit of a white border all the way around. Now bringing back that background panel, it's pretty warped from getting wet a couple different times, so I used some tape runner and liquid glue to stick a piece of really lightweight chipboard. It was packaging from a die set, and that's going to help make it more flat, and it'll pop it up off my card base a little bit. So now that the background's ready, I'm going to glue down that awesome die cut, but I am not done with it yet. I die cut another of the slimline panels, and I'm trying to save some of the pieces to do some inlaying. So you'll see here I'm going to use these the blooms, and I'm going to fill them in with that really dark yellow cardstock, and that's going to just add another look and texture to the card. Really, I have the 3D flowers with the kaleidoscope thing going on. I've got those yellow flowers that are popping up, and this one's going to be pressed down into that die cut. So it's just another interesting look to this panel. All right, so now that that's done, I am taking an adhesive eraser and just getting off any excess glue. When you do a lot of inlaying and layering up of skinny little die cuts, sometimes you need to remove some of the glue, and that adhesive eraser works great. I brought in some dark purple gems to add to the center of my kaleidoscope flowers for a little something, and I just couldn't stop. I have this pop, it's called Pops from scrapbook.com, and this is kind of a sherbet color, and I am filling in the leaves with this. Now you could also do the inlay technique, but I thought it was just really fun to fill it in with something that has a different texture, a different kind of shine to it, and then I'm going to put 3 dots of that on the center of each of the yellow flowers as well. I had so much fun with this. Now I have my Nuvo Midas Touch Glimmer pen, a shimmer pen, and it has gold shimmer in it, and I just accented the leaves on those inlaid flowers. While that's sitting aside to get dry, I'm going to work on my sentiment. I have some Aura hot foil, which, by the way, is the foil that comes in the March Glimmer Hot Foil Kit of the month, with which I will be showing you in a few days. So stay tuned for that. And this foil is like gold with a iridescent finish. I love it. So I brought in a Glimmer Hot Foil plate that says happy birthday. I put that face down on my foil that's face up on my cardstock, put that face down onto the Glimmer Hot Foil system, add my shims, press the timer, and when that timer goes off about a minute later, I can remove the whole entire platform and run it through my die machine, and that pressure and the heat is going to transfer that foil onto my dark purple cardstock. Now, this maybe didn't get quite enough pressure. You can see the happy birthday is a little splotchy. I don't mind that, actually. It doesn't bother me on this card. Maybe on others it would, but I decided to go ahead and use it. But if that bothers you, you might have to hot foil another one, or maybe run it through your die machine forward and then back. Just remember when you're hot foiling to really run it through slowly each time. You don't want it bouncing around because then it could like double foil. All right, I have some light purple gems now. I'm going to add in and around this card. I'm putting like 3 in each of the corners just to bring in another element of dimension and shine. I like over the top cards. I like to put all the things on there. So there's my card right there, card number 1. But I wanted to make another card because I had that yellow piece that I used to die cut those inlaid pieces, and I thought I might as well use it and make a card with it, right? So what I'm going to do is bring in the die that cuts the most delicate layer or thinnest layer of that Kaleidoscope flower, and you can see I can use this to die cut that background piece and create a more delicate flower instead of a solid flower. Then I'm going to bring in my Zig 2A glue pen. This is going to dry so it has a light tack, kind of like a sticky note. So I'm going to cover the whole entire back of this, let it dry. It really only takes like a minute or two, maybe less. And then I'm sticking it to my shirt so it's a little less tacky because I want to remove this. I'm actually now using this as a stencil. So now that it's stuck down to my white paper, I'm going to spray this with Distress Mica Spray Stain in a Flickering Candle. I wanted a color that looked good on top of the die cut, as well as made a cool background that's kind of going to color coordinate with my cards. I'm making like a set of cards. They all kind of go together. I already have out the supplies for this kind of gold, yellow, purple, so I'm going to just keep it all out, make my cards so they all are matchy-matchy. Now I have this sprayed background that looks amazing, if I don't say so myself, plus I have that die cut I can save and use. So I added some white flowers, and I wanted to show you I could use those die cuts in a number of ways on this panel if I wanted to, but I decided to leave mine white, plain. I did not add another layer, and instead I added some white gems to the center of those flowers, and I liked it so much I sprinkled some more on in random places, and I started to get the feel like maybe this was a good wedding card or like a bridal shower type card. So I am now going to hot foil a sentiment for that. These sentiments all come from the same Glimmer Hot Foil set. I will link it for you below because it's like Glimmer Essentials Sentiments or something like that. I'll link it for you along with all the other things I'm using today. So I have congratulations here, and I'm going to add that to my card. I'm keeping this one a little bit more simple. I know, it's crazy. Also, I wanted to mention my card bases for all 3 of my cards are a little bit bigger than 8.5 by 3.5. They're actually 8 3/4 by 7.5, scored at 3 3/4 because that background panel is 8.5 by 3.5, and I like a white border on my cards but this will still fit in a business size envelope. All right, let's move on to card number 3. I took an 8.5 by 3.5 inch piece of cardstock and die cut the center with a slimline die from Spellbinders and created this purple frame. I'm adding some adhesive all around that frame and taking that die cut piece that we used as a stencil and pressing it on to this frame. I thought this was really cool looking. And I thought it might be a great thing to use to make a shaker card. So I added some more adhesive on there and am now adding a window sheet that's 8.5 by 3.5, maybe just a hair under, so it's a little bit easier to adhere to this. And then I'm pressing it down. It's going to pick up that tape runner and the liquid glue and stay in place really nicely. I trimmed off any of the flowers I had sticking out, and now it's time to do some paper piecing. So I have these flowers I cut from the lighter yellow cardstock, so I've now got the dark yellow, the light yellow, and then I have my Kaleidoscope flowers done with purple the same way I did on the first card, and I'm just inlaying that into those openings that I had previously created with this same die. So those fit in really nicely and this card is coming together so beautifully. I'm going to add some of those dark gems to the center of the flowers, and then I just got a wild hair and decided I was going to put gems in the center of each of those yellow flowers as well, like a cluster of 3. So I brought back the lighter gems and I thought, okay, each of these is going to get 3 in the center. And then I was worried I was going to use up too many of my teeny tiny purple gems and I would be sad. So I brought back the darker purple gems and I'm adding those to the center of the larger of these rounded flowers. Does that make sense? A mix of light and dark purple gems, really. That's what it is. And then each of them has 3 because, you know, I told you I like to be extra. All right, I'm going to hot foil a sentiment for this one that says thank you. I'm going to flag cut the end just by cutting right up the center and then cutting from the corner to the top of that snip, and that gives me some fishtails. All right, to make a shaker, I have some foam tape. This is my favorite foam tape. It's actually from Hefty Doodle. It is already super thick, so if you have thick embellishments that you're putting in your shaker, it'll take it. And then it's not sticky on the edges. Yeah, I love that. I'm going to add some gold sequins in my shaker. And then I'm going to bring some seed beads in from the Crescent Creation Shop, and they're in the perfect color, this purple. So I'm going to just put those right down the center. Some of them are going to escape. I did collect them and I did put them in the center of the card, and now I can add that topper to this card. And yeah, it's a lot, but I love it. I love it. I like shaker cards so much. Can you hear that? It sounds so good. That's what the addition of seed beads do for your cards. They give it that sound that you want to hear, and then it also helps move things that might be really light. It helps move them around better. All right, I added my sentiment to the card there, and that finishes up card number 3. So I have shown you 3 different ways to use this brand new large die of the month from Spellbinders. It's a club kit. It's something you can subscribe to and they'll send it to you every month, a different new die set, and the value of this die set is amazing. So if you haven't heard of Spellbinders club kits before, I'm going to link them for you below. And there are other club kits besides dies. Like I said, I will be back later this month in a couple days with the Glimmer Hot Foil Kit of the Month and the Clear Stamp of the Month for you as well. So stay tuned for those, and in the meantime you can check out what Spellbinders has to offer for club kits in the description box below. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe. I have new videos all the time and I love sharing them with you. So thank you so much for watching and stopping by. I'll see you all again very soon. Happy stamping. Bye.